how's it going? You're sitting over here at the fireside chat of Nerd for No Reason. Welcome to another week. I'm one of your hosts. I am Raven.
And I am your other host, Mark. What's up, everybody? What's up, party people? The dreamers? The lovers
dreamers,
and
the
me.
believers. Oh, what? You were going for a whole thing.
Yeah, I was.
My bad, my man.
Raven, what's happening?
Oh, just lazing the day away. I repotted some of my plants today so they could
Ooh.
get some new soil. I have a lot more to do. But, just like that little step of we're kicking it into gear, getting close to spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have bought a lot of new plants recently, and I'm just like, oh yeah, maybe I should find pots for these. I've got like a bunch of like little pots that I hadn't used because, things happen, some die, and that's okay. But then we repot the like little plants into bigger pots, and it's one of those things. What you been up to? What's been crack-a-lackin'?
It has been such a busy week in the Highland House. I think every day this week we've had something going on. Alice has been gearing up for her play that she had premiere this week. That coupled with all the extracurriculars that we've had this week, it's just been busy. We had a thing. Oh yeah, that was this week. Oh wow. You know what? I'm going to save those and talk about those on the things that made me happy because I completely forgot. There's so much that happened that I literally forgot. There was like this whole other event that took place. That it was both of my kids had something going on, Amy and Alice. Alice had a play going on. Amy had kind of a school function that, where they celebrate all different types of cultural stuff, like other students that come from different areas or whatever. And it's a really cool little event. I'll kind of talk about a little bit more later on in the things that made me happy now that I remember that was actually this week and not last week. So
Nice. That sounds fun.
So yeah. Other than that, man, it has just been it's been busy. I was genuinely worried I was not going to have time to watch the movie this week.
Ooh, that kind of busy. Goodness.
But I squeezed it in, and it was great, and I cried, and
Oh, I feel you. I feel you.
I can't wait to talk about this movie. So,
well, do you want to dive into it?
Yeah,
or
man.
Or do you have other news?
No, I don't think I have anything else. I was just about to ask you the same thing. I don't really have a lot of news to talk about. I think we're kind of in the middle of like the effects of the writers and actors strike that took place last year. We are in a barren wasteland of things, with the exception of like Dune 2.
Well, there also was the anime, the Crunchyroll Awards.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion presented.
I heard.
She wore JoJo's Bizarre Adventure style dress.
Because only Megan Thee Stallion could wear something like that.
Dude, she looks so good in it.
She did.
One Piece this year, the best main character was Monkey D. Luffy, which I thought that was fun. I don't know if you heard, but there is a new Pokemon game that's getting brought up.
The Pokemon Alpha to Z or whatever. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
I know. I was like, what is this? But yeah. So there is some new stuff, but not much in like the TV movie world. It's more of just like, here's some other things.
Right. And we really didn't get, for the Pokemon trailer, we didn't really get a, like a lot. It was very much a teaser trailer. And if I remember the trailer right, like it's not coming out until 2025. So they're still actively working on it.
Yeah. But it's just another one of those things to get people geared up for, you know, more Pokemon.
Yep. Speaking of Pokemon, did you ever get around to watching Pokemon Concierge?
I was
Raven.
also very busy this past week. No,
Raven.
I'm sorry. Oh, Pokemon Legends Z to A is what it's called, I think. Anyways, no, I need to hop up on it. I've been just like you. I was pretty busy this week and last week because we were out of town yesterday, and then today we've just been, doing the stuff that you got to do. But I'll get to it. I promise.
Okay.
I gotta
I'm
see.
trying to get a review on it from someone who knows more about Pokemon than me and would probably really enjoy that good serotonin dump that is
Oh, I
Pokemon
know.
Concierge.
I'll have to see where you put it.
I deleted it.
That's okay.
I'll put it back.
You keep doing that. That's the thing, is you like delete it
That's
and then I
twice.
like go in there. Yeah, that's fair. I'll
So
just find another place to go watch it.
okay.
I'll just watch the whole thing somehow. You know? I'll figure it out. Anyways, are you ready to dive in to
Oh boy.
what I
Yes.
titled in my notes as the Seven Swans a Speeding? I
Oh,
put that down for my
that's
title
fantastic.
last week, and then I realized, no, wait, this is number 6. So I saved it for this week. Anyways,
That's fantastic. All right.
thank you.
So this week we continue our Fast and the Furious franchise review. Um, we are on episode 7, Furious 7 or 7. What was it?
Seven Swans a Speedin'.
7 Swans a Speeding. Oh man, that's fantastic. I'm genuinely upset I didn't. You realize, like, until we end this franchise, this is the naming convention we're going for.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, I have seen this movie more times than I care to admit. But Raven, I know this was your first time watching. This has been so much fun for me so like now we are in the thick of it. We are in like prime Fast and Furious moviedom, cinematic universe. And Raven, this was your first time watching it. Please tell me what you thought of Fast and the Furious 7.
It was an absolute ride. That is for sure. Of, extreme craziness to extreme emotion. But man, just the start out of it when they're just like doing the whole thing where it's all about Han essentially broke my heart. And
Oh
then you
yeah.
get to all the crazy, insane stuff that you have been leading up to me. And Chris and I went, yeah, I guess we do just really have to shut off our brains. Because I literally just kept going, what? The whole time. All the way to the very end, where I was just an emotional mess. Mark, as you have said, you have seen this quite a few times. What are your thoughts on number 7?
This movie is, to steal a phrase from Paul Scheer of How Did This Get Made podcast, this movie is bonkers. It is, watching it this time, I thought 6 was my favorite. I think this one might have taken the cake because it is just, oh, you shut your brain off and you could just have your. I was laughing out loud by myself, cheering at the screen, just so much fun watching this. Um, I don't even. I'm just sitting here staring at my notes, and I just don't even know where to start. There was multiple times in this movie where I just zoned out and started forgetting to take notes because I was so wrapped up in this dumb movie. Um, I think this might be. I think I said this last week. I don't know, but I think this might be the perfect action, nonsensical action movie. You don't need. They give you all the information you need about the characters. So if you come in on this movie, then you don't really need a lot of backstory because they spend a lot of time giving it back to you. But, you know, you can come into this movie knowing the bare minimum and just be like, yes, we're doing all of this nonsense. Um, we're dropping cars out of airplanes. We don't care.
God, cars are flying.
Let's
this
talk
whole
about that.
movie.
Let's talk about that because that was probably, I almost genuinely wish that this wasn't in the trailer, because when this movie came out, I think it was 2015. I remember in the trailer they showed this part, the cars, you know,
Oh, really?
dropping out of the back of an airplane, and them zooming through the sky. And initially, like with most of these movies, I was like, man, come on. We've gone crazy now. What are we even doing? But watching it this time, I am on board. Just, we have to get to a place, and how are we going to get there? There's only one road coming in or out. Of course, let's get a C-17 to drop us out of this airplane. Yes. And that was actually a practical effect. They really dropped cars out of an airplane.
Oh.
Yes.
Jeez. Dude, I can't imagine sitting in one of those. I'd be literally peeing myself. Oh my gosh.
I don't
That's
think
so scary.
I don't think the actors were in the cars.
Yeah.
But no, I think for every car had 2 accompanying skydivers with it. So as the car came out, they would get the shots, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think they had dummies in the thing to kind of fill in for all the actors. But yes, it was actually, they did actually drop cars from an airplane.
From the sky.
Yes.
Can you imagine standing, you know, you've been hiking, you're doing a little thing, and you just see cars falling from the sky. What are you doing in that instance? I think I would just be like, okay, something's going on. This is some military stuff that I'm not aware of, and I think I need to leave.
Yeah, that might be one of those real life instances where it's like, had enough internet for today.
You're right.
And funny note, I pinged on this because of course it's an airplane in a movie, so you know I immediately recognized it because both of the airplanes used in this scene are airplanes that I've worked on. The exterior shot where they're showing the plane flying to the drop zone, that is a C-17. The interior is a C-130, and as an airplane mechanic who's worked on both of those airplanes, furious, mad as hell. How dare you? Those are 2 vastly different airplanes. But yeah, again, nitpicky for me because really at this juncture, I don't even care. I love that leading up to this scene, Roman is trying so hard to be in charge, and when, no pun intended, the rubber hits the road as they're dropping down, he's like, I can't do it, guys. I'm just gonna stay up here. Like, no, buddy, this is your idea.
Dude, when he was like, I don't know about this, and then Tej is over there like, hey, Roman, you freaking out, man? He's like, no, I'm fine. And everyone's just like, yeah, okay. It
Yeah.
was so funny to just like, because they were like, hey, Tej, you gotta do it. And then, whoop, there his car goes. And he's just, that man would just be absolutely like hysterically crying. I
Right.
feel like.
And Roman was absolutely on fire. They wrote Roman so good in this movie.
He was doing his thing this round.
Yes.
Some of it was like, all right, but then oh my goodness, there's one scene where we'll have to talk about that because Chris and I were both like, this is so cringe. I want to die for Roman. And
Oh,
I think everyone
let's talk
else.
about it.
Okay,
Which
well,
scene was it?
the whole scene where he's over there when they go to Abu Dhabi and they go into that really nice big prince's like little top suite or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're all looking so nice. I was like, ooh, the whole crew got the like really nice threads. And he tries to like do the thing that he likes to do so he can like be the star, and he's like, what's up, girl? Today's your birthday. And starts doing his thing, and then he just like says some stuff that even like Tej is like, did you really just say that?
Yeah.
Are you okay? And Chris and I were both just like, oh, stop. Please stop. Because he's over there singing happy birthday. He's the only person singing happy birthday. And then he just keeps talking, and he's just like doing his thing. Man. Man, oh man.
Yeah, but I kind of think that was the whole point of what he was doing. I
Well,
think
yeah.
I mean, written that way, yes, but you're right. It was very awkward cringe for like, come on, Roman, you're better than this, buddy. Just get in the car, man. You could be cool again.
Right. So,
Yeah.
in the very beginning of the movie,
Yes.
we meet, as soon as he shows up on screen, I was literally like, fuck you, uh, brother of, Shaw. I literally was like screaming. Chris was just like, here we go. And then we like get to Race Wars, and it was like, just like cute to like go back to that and just like have that moment. And Letty's like, we used to come here. And then Dom is like, come here. We invented it.
Yeah.
It was like
What?
a whole thing.
What? What are we even
Yeah,
talking?
dude.
Yes.
You know that Dom was running them streets, creating the race war, having the time of his life. And Letty was over there like, all right, whatever, we're gonna do this big drive. And her like freak out moment, I was like, oh,
Dude, they brought Hector back
yeah,
for
right,
just to bring him back to get punched in the face.
just to get his face busted up. That was so good. That was like a good little like callback to have for that,
But
because
also,
he's
to
over
be
there
fair,
like, man, she hadn't changed a bit,
right, but also to be fair, like, she's freaking out and he walks up behind her
and picks
and
her
picks her
up.
up and just like no warning, no anything. And I get amnesia or no, I get why she turned around and just punched the shit out of him. It was
Right?
fantastic. And then of course Vin Diesel walks up. He's like, "Oh man, hey, good to see you, buddy.
Right?
Still can't take a punch or whatever he says.
Yeah,
Oh.
dude.
And,
Um,
and then from there, this is so weird. She goes to her own grave, and they're staring at the grave, and I'm like, how weird is it for you to be staring at your own grave? I want to know what's in their grave, because they put somebody in that casket and buried them.
yeah, they had. Well, I also was thinking about that. I was like, did they just find some random person and go, yep, that's her. We ID'd her. That's the body for sure. It's all charred up. Because, like, she was supposedly, like, died in a car wreck and, like, all that stuff. But yeah, no, I can't imagine, like, just standing there and being like, this could have actually been me. And then, I felt really bad for Letty in this, like, this movie specifically, because she was really dealing with the fact that she's like, I don't know who the heck I am. Dom has all these memories of us, like, together, and I have, like, the last, it looked like it had been, like, maybe a year or two since the last movie.
Yeah.
So that's all she could remember, and I feel like that would be a lot of strain. So for her to be like, yeah, I'm just going to walk away from this, only to, 20 minutes later, she's like, I'm back.
Right.
You can't keep me away, Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, she just comes back so kind of unceremoniously. I'm like, where'd you go? Like, what'd you do? Did you just go home and chill out and think about family? Like, what is going on? So, I don't know. What do you think? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you want to bring up one of your first superhero moments that's not technically Dom, but instead Hobbs? But if you have something else.
No. I was actually going to start talking about Hobbs.
Wonderful.
Because when Hobbs is at his office sweating for no reason, and Elena shows up, and I love Elena. She is such I love her. I want her in all of these movies going forward. She's great. I hate that she's just a glorified cameo now, but we'll stick with it. But The Rock walks her out, and as he's walking back, he's walking past all of these glass offices. And my first thought was, every single one of these window panes are going to get broke. Every single one of them. And then, boy, Deckard Shaw's in there. Talking his shit. And The Rock is, superhuman strength. And we get just the first of many fantastic action sequences where they're just throwing each other through shit and explosions and everything else. And the camera work. Dude, the camera work. That rotating camera when he like rock bottoms Jason Statham into that glass. Everything is glass.
Everything was glass. Absolutely everything. It was insane.
The only glass thing they didn't have was couches. But like all the desk, if you could set a drink on it, it was glass. He rock bottoms and that camera rotates, and it was just chef's kiss. So good. And what's his superpower? I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure. Go tell me what the Hobbs' superpower is.
When this big old man runs, jumps, and like him and Elena go falling through that freaking, they go out the glass, they land on the car, which also reminds me of like Dom going to catch Letty after jumping out of the car to jump onto another car. But of course, it's The Rock, so he looks massive. And he's just like holding her. And I was like, what? How are you alive, my good sir?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of impact just from your body alone is insane. But yeah, no, that was so wild. And you get to see that this is like the second round of Jason Statham's very favorite choice of weapon. A classic grenade.
Yeah, just a
that
classic
he just
grenade.
has an entire bag of. Sir, where did you get these?
Oh man, we don't have to worry about those kind of logistics. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
He just threw a singular grenade blew up a whole floor after he just got done, like literally, we'll just say days ago, took out an entire hospital, destroyed it, and then had the nerve to be like, if anything happens to him, I'm going to come back for you. Well, sir, maybe you should not have destroyed this hospital. That's all I'm saying. Uh,
Sir, please leave.
the, yeah, so my big question is, because I know that they have it in their contracts that The Rock and Vin Diesel can't lose a fight. Did The Rock lose this fight? Or did he get exploded out of a window and that doesn't technically count as a loss?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, because technically, like, the fight kind of ended, and then Jason Statham ran away. So, I don't think anyone necessarily lost at this point. But yeah.
But I think this is kind of where, in real life, we can kind of see the effects of The Rock not getting along with Vin Diesel. Because they really cut him out the rest of the movie.
Well, you know, he's laid up with a cast in the hospital where his daughter literally goes, he's like, oh, this is my good friend. You must be Dominic Toretto. My dad said he kicked your ass once. And he's just like, hey.
Hey, your dad's got a funny memory. Vin Diesel. Family.
But, you know, before that scene, they were at the house. You see a very normalized dad Brian with a minivan trying to be like, how do I do any of this? And Mia's just like, Dom, it's round 2, baby. I'm going for baby number 2. I gotta get this man back on the straight and narrow. He misses the bullets.
Yes.
When she said that, I was just like, what do you mean he misses the bullets? He doesn't miss the, like, fun, fast cars with all the racing? You miss getting shot out, my man?
I mean, he lives his life a quarter mile at the time? Question mark.
I guess.
I don't know. There's something to be said about you know, when your priorities change and you become a father, you know, and you have a very large sum of money where you can be like, okay, cool, you know, I don't have to go get into shenanigans again. Then the thing you don't do is go get into shenanigans again. He could have very easily been like, okay, cool, we're moving to Idaho. No cell phones, right? No nothing. We'll tell Dom, and then we're going to move to Idaho. We'll change our names. Everything will be easy because we have pardons. We can do all of this stuff legally now. Witness protection, be out. Boom. That's it.
They could completely live off the grid. They could live in a cute little cabin, you know, make their own, like, garden and stuff. That's the life they could have lived.
Yep.
And I hope that in the end, that's the kind of life they are living.
But instead, Jason Statham blows up the freaking house.
Goodbye, 1327. R.I.P., baby.
Now, this is where grown-up Mark has strong thoughts about this. It has to suck living next door to them.
Right?
Like, I can just imagine if, like, the people who live next door to him on either side probably have lived there for 20 years or, you know, they've lived there for a substantial amount of time, you know. We'll just say they bought the house back in, like, the mid-90s, young couple. Oh, this is great. And next door to them is a bunch of just idiot street racers partying, you know, just wham all the time. Dominic's out there and is, you know, bringing home random Dodge Chargers and stuff, and then there's shootouts and
The
Then they
cops are
go
there.
right. The cops are there. Then they go away for like 5 years, 10 years maybe, and just the house, everything's overrun. It looks all dilapidated. Then they just show back up. Wing, 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 loud cars and stuff, and then the house freaking explodes.
Do you
But
think
the
at
girl,
that point they're just like, hey, should we move now? Or do we think they just won't rebuild? They like played
Margaret,
rock, paper,
pack it
scissors.
up. We're done.
They're over there just like rock, paper, scissors. We stay or we leave.
But surprisingly, the garage out back, unscathed.
Well, yeah, of course, you know.
Yeah,
I
Charger.
mean, Brian's minivan took a whole face to the window in front of their little
Oh,
one.
yes, it did.
And then
I
Mia goes
forgot.
running over there and she's like, Jack! And it's like, Jack's fine. He
Yeah.
literally just watched his dad face plant into some glass.
God.
Kid probably has absolutely no idea about anything that just happened.
Right. Other
He's
than
just
it
like,
was,
whoa.
that it was super loud and it was scary.
Right? True. Absolutely.
And then after that, they send Mia to Dominican Republic in some drug kingpin's mansion estate.
You gotta
What?
do what you gotta do. Keep him safe.
I didn't recognize this dude. Are we supposed to know who this dude was?
At first, I thought it was, what was that other place that they, like, did that, man. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it was that one scumbag's place where Dom and Brian were like, no, maybe I'm thinking, I don't know, honestly. You know, Dom's just got freaking connections with everyone.
Yeah. I don't
But,
know.
yeah.
I'll see if I can find him. Oh, here he is. Hold on. I think I found him.
Oh.
He is in he has not been in a lot of things. Do 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 do.
He
Nope.
is
He
nothing.
is not in any other Fast and Furious movie. I have no idea who this dude's supposed to be.
Dang.
All right. Well, yeah. So, yeah, they send Mia there to be safe. So now she's out of the movie too. And
The crew seems so small, like in certain little spots where they would just like film like a wide shot of everyone. I was like, man, I don't know. For a moment, I was just like, man, you know, we lost Han and we lost Giselle.
mm-hmm.
And then Hobbs isn't there with like Elena and Mia's not there. It did feel like a little like tiny mission that is just like, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
You know, it is weird that that because the cast was so big last movie, that now we've done kind of separated everyone else. Like we've done split up the crew, for the lack of better terms. They go and you know, we got Mia somewhere, we got The Rock somewhere. Elena, she pretty much has a cameo and then she disappears. The guy who was supposed to be the big bad, what's his name that I can't remember?
The big bad.
Digimon Hansu, the not Shaw, but the other guy, the other bad guy. So you can't even
Mr. Nobody?
No, not Mr. Nobody. The other bad guy.
Okay.
See, you've done forgot who he was.
There's too many people.
Right, but at the same
crazy.
time, there's not. I mean,
Yeah.
compared to like last episode. Geez, I'm doing what you're doing now. Last movie.
Last episode on the Fast and Furious.
Right. But yeah, he was like the other guy. He played that I just had him. Jakande? He was the guy. He was the guy when after they did that big thing on the mountain and they got Ramsey, which we're going to talk about Ramsey in a minute. But
Mm-hmm.
after they got Ramsey and Dom has done like went through the woods and he's on the road and all the Black Ops guys are surrounding him and they got him surrounded. It's like, oh, what's he gonna do? And the guy steps out of the thing and he's like, Dominic Toretto. He was the one up. He was the one up in the helicopter who was like, "Give me God's eye, bro. Why can't I see people?"
Yeah,
The black dude.
yeah. That
Okay.
guy. Okay, I got
All
you.
right. Yeah. See,
We're now.
he was pretty much a cameo, but he was supposed to be the big bad number 2.
Gotcha.
I can't even remember my point now. You've done derailed me because you forgot about the secondary the secondary villain.
Sorry.
All right. So when Dom goes to Tokyo and we meet Sean again from Tokyo Drift.
This 18-year-old man who does not look like he's, in his 40s at all.
Right. I have that in my notes that I wrote Country DK aged 10 years and 10 seconds. It went from Bow Wow going, "Hey, some guy wants to race you," and then him talking to Dom, and I'm like, "Oh boy,
Yeah.
y'all didn't even try."
Nope.
I don't know, but they found this at Han's crash site.
With a picture of Giselle. Man.
In the necklace.
Watching all that was so sad. Yes, the necklace.
That dumb necklace. This is why this was the movie where a couple movies ago, and I think last week, I was like, pay attention to the necklace. The necklace is important. Yeah, this is why. Because this necklace is a common through line because it's Letty's wedding ring, question mark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shh, we don't know that yet.
Right, we don't know that yet. We're gonna. Oh boy, are we gonna talk about that dumbass last scene? But I meant to do this and I just never got around to it. Did you ever go back and watch the Tokyo Drift scene where Han died?
I didn't go back to watch it. Why?
Well, I mean, because like this movie, very much the tag at the end of the last movie and this movie, very much there's big parts of it where like Owen Shaw or Deckard, whichever one Jason Statham is,
Deckard.
that he is the guy who killed Han.
Yeah. Well, they did like a little flashback to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they did the flashback to it, but it was also like, did they plan for this in Tokyo Drift? I don't think they did.
Yeah.
But
I don't think, but who knows,
I think that each movie is its own contained thing, and then as they progress more in the movies, they're like, well, we didn't say it didn't happen, so let's do it this way. Let's retcon this whole thing because, like, Letty's back because we never saw a body, so we can just make up whatever thing we want to make up. And that's good and bad for the franchise. I guess this is probably the least egregious of things, but, yeah, it's just kind of weird to me.
Yeah. But Dom going and being like, I'm going to bring Han back. And then, he comes back. We have the whole funeral.
Hold on.
Hold
on. They brought, all right, so Han, who is Japanese, and Dom was like, I'm going to bring him back. What?
Well, he's family.
Right. He's family, but you took
home.
him from his real family. Probably. I don't know where he's actually from. He might be from Southern California. But I just like to think that he's actually Japanese, and his family is like, who are you? And he's like, I got to take him back to California.
We already had him cremated. I don't care.
We're going to put him in the ground in California. San
this
Bernardino.
Is where the family believes.
I'm going to bury him right next to my not dead girlfriend.
I know. I was like, are they just gonna like bury him next to Letty's spot? Are they all just? Does everyone have their own plots if you like join the family, quote unquote?
I mean, they have enough money. I would imagine that they've already pre-purchased all of their grave plots, just like responsible fiscal planning. Like, don't worry about me when I die. Everything's taken care of. I've already got the plot, got the casket picked out. Just put me in the ground.
I
Don't
also
worry.
got your headstone already made. We're just waiting for that last date,
Right.
sir. And you know it's all Dom planning it out.
Oh, absolutely.
But
No.
that's the scene where Brian, Roman, and Tej are all like talking about, man, no more funerals, and I was just like, oh, like, I feel like there was so much in this movie that, of course, they're just talking about it because they don't know what the future holds for Paul Walker, and there's just so many of those moments that I was just like, man, this makes me so sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But Dom chasing out of the cemetery,
Yo,
Dom
this
just flooring it.
I feel like hold on, I need like a little button to push whenever we get new superpowers because bling bling bling. This was it.
Fair.
I don't know if this is to piggyback off of the telekinesis that he has or the ESP that he has, or if it's a spider sense or
I was
what
gonna
it
say
is.
he's got hypersenses.
Right. So he's just standing there over this grave, and all in this car, off in the distance, he's like, his little spider senses start tingling. He's like, I gotta go, and starts chasing after. He leaves a funeral to start chasing after Shaw, and I'm like, man, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Because this is the first meeting of Dom and Shaw, right?
yes,
God. The fact that he doesn't even know. He knows absolutely nothing, and he's like, that car over there is suspicious.
right.
Jingles keys. Starts like sprinting to his car. Over there like Superman or Batman.
And no one else is like, Dom's running, we gotta go. It's like, there he goes again, doing Dom stuff.
So when they get to the part where they're both like revving at each other, about to start like zooming at each other, and they do the crash. After the crash happens and they're both just in their cars like, Chris was like, I really thought they were going to fly out of the windshield and start beating each other up. And I was like, that's the next that's
Yeah,
the next superpower that he gets.
But if that would have happened, would that have even surprised you? Would you have even been like,
No.
oh my goodness?
The amount of times that like something happened and Chris and I literally called it and we're like, what the fuck? Was so funny. But because
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Please do.
I'm genuinely upset because they had a perfect opportunity here. A prime opportunity to give us our patented Fast and Furious Dominic Toretto wheelie, and we did not get it.
Oh, don't you worry, baby. We get him later on.
I was mad, but this was a fantastic crash scene. This was so good that when them cars just plow right into each other.
What did you guys think was going to happen?
You know what?
One of the cars is just going to dominate the other car?
They just stopped, and Dominic Toretto gets out with a sledgehammer, and Shaw gets out with a gun. Oh, what did you think? What was it? What did he say? What was that dumb line he fucking said?
Was it a street fight? No.
No, the street fight. I think the street fight line was later, but he was like, "Oh, did you think I was gonna fight fair or something like that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a street fight or something like that."
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Nobody shows up. Kurt Russell shows up, as if we need another character in this movie. We get Kurt Russell of all people, And this starts, I think this starts the trend of like legit actors who are like, no, man, like I really want to do a Fast and Furious movie because they look super fun and they make a bajillion dollars. So yeah, put me as whatever role you want to put me in. Like, just I'm all for it. And I think this one went to Kurt Russell.
Hmm.
And I
Okay.
think that he was like fifth out of their choices. Initially, they wanted it to be Denzel,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
he turned it down for whatever reason. And there was a list of other people who were going to do it until they got to Kurt Russell. He's like, yes, of course.
I would love to. Thank you. Paycheck, please. Yeah, no, when Kurt Russell and Dominic, just like go do the little walkthrough thing, because he's trying to like explain, here's the mission and stuff like that. But he's like, this ale, this Belgian ale, delicious. Chris and I were both like, no, he's going to turn it down because he needs Corona. And then Kurt Russell brings out fucking Corona after Dominic's like, sorry, I only drink Corona. We were literally like cackling at that. It was so funny. Corona was said 4 times in this movie, just so you know.
just to hold on, I can't. I went down a quick rabbit hole because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this movie comes out, it's a big hit. Kurt Russell's like, yeah, I want to be in a Fast and Furious movie because they make a bajillion dollars. So, you know, he's going to get however minute it is for his role. It's required they get some type of kickback. You know, they get their residuals. This is what they did a big old strike about last year. So I don't know what his residuals are going to be. But this movie made $1.5 billion at the box office.
Okay.
I think this movie was the fastest movie to reach $1 billion.
Ooh.
It made $1 billion in like some ludicrous, like really, really fast amount of time. And I'm trying to pull that up right now, and I cannot find how fast it made. But it made $1.5 million at the box office. That's a lot of money for a residual check to just steadily keep coming in for Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice little influx you got there, my good sir.
Yeah. And at this point, I kind of forgot to take notes, so you're gonna have to help me out because I get so caught up in it because Kurt Russell shows up like this is great, and then we have the big meeting up scene, and Letty shows back up, and Ludacris
Also, can we just talk about the fact that the whole crew just like got in some random dude's car and was like, yeah, he promised us that Dom is gonna be there. Like what?
right.
You guys were just at a funeral. And now, okay, were they? Yes, they were like out of funeral clothes at this point.
Yep.
But it seemed like maybe an hour, 2 hours of time had like passed, and they're just like,
it's no time.
yeah, let's just get in this car. It's cool. But yeah, and then Letty's like, I am also here, and everyone's like, thank God. And then this is where Roman's like, I want to be in charge. And Tej is just like, yeah, okay, let him do it. And Dom's like, okay, let's see what happens. And then that's when we get to the scene where cars start falling out of trees. Roman's freaking his shit out. And then his car starts spinning into some trees. Which was hilarious.
When they leave Mr. Nobody's compound before, like, as they're getting onto the plane, like, right before that, I can't remember Paul Walker's line that leads up to it, but Vin Diesel looks down the barrel of the camera and goes, it ain't just about being fast.
Oh, yeah, I did put that down.
And
This
I'm
time it ain't just about being fast. And Chris goes, is it furious
That's
time?
what I said. That's literally what I said. It's also about being furious. He didn't say it,
It
and
would have been so funny.
man, man, can't even
But
believe it.
this freaking scene, after cars have fallen, the way that they also like hit the ground.
Oh, we go right, like this is
Oh,
a
it goes
huge
hard.
scene. It's like 30 minutes of just planes falling out of the sky, just action packed, like miniguns on tour buses. This scene was bonkers.
Also, Tej was actually driving in this movie,
Yeah, he was.
which was like insane to see. And like when his car hits the ground, he's like, whoa, what's going on here? But my man was doing some work for this little part because he had his like cool little car that's bulletproof and stuff. So he was able to be up in the front and be like, what's up? Y'all can't touch me. It was nice. I was proud of him.
It was pretty cool. Like Tej, they kind of gave Tej a lot more stuff to do this movie too. We get to see more of his computer hacker stuff, and this also kind of starts his where his whole job, I think, from here on out is tech exposition dump. So we have this fantastical piece of tech, and it is Tej's job to say, "Oh, well, we got the flim flams doing the blippy bloops that are going to track us and do things." And everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, well, big eye in the sky, track people." That's kind of what Tej's role, like his role in the group, is from here on out, and kind of Ramsey too, because she's a computer hacker too. So she gives a lot of tech exposition that, oh, hey, we need to do this because of this fancy tech thing. And it's I'm glad that we've kind of gotten to this part in Ludacris's role. Plus, Ludacris gets like a quick, like 15-second fight scene, and great, so happy.
You know who had his own little fight scene? Freaking Brian. He's over there
Yeah, he did.
ghost riding the whip while Tej is just like pushing him up so he can jump in to this whole bus of like insanity. There's computers, there's all this technology. People are pointing guns at him, but of course he's over there just like, pop, pop, pop. I got all you guys. Everyone's out except for this one last guy. He's going to be a little difficult. And he throws this poor woman just like out of the car. She's like, no, absolutely not. You can just kill me. And he's like, you gotta do it. And I'm like, you guys forget that normal people can't just jump onto cars. And I was like, she would slip so easily. And she was getting jostled around so hard. But what cracked me up the most is the point where Dom revs it just enough so she flies back and he just like grabs her and pulls her in.
Yep, yep. I wrote that in my notes too. I wrote, did he just rev his car and flip Ramsey into the sunroof?
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And then, the bus is going crazy. And I was literally like mid-sentence saying something about like, oh, this is when Roman's going to show back up and he's going to like go save Brian. And then he just comes, and Chris was like, you couldn't have said this at a better time, because he just starts doing his own thing. Brian's over there rock climbing up the side of this bus that could literally just like fall at any moment. But such a wonderful scene of him just running, jump, and now I need a spoiler on my car just to save people, because Letty does the whole and Brian just catches it.
this was one of
Spoilers
those.
save lives.
This was one of those scenes that I genuinely forgot about. And when I saw her coming and started, drifting around, and he grabbed onto this spoiler, I stood up out of my chair and laughed and cheered. I was like, yes! Ah, this is great. This is so fun. And I think it was at that point when I was like, this is the greatest dumb action movie ever made on the planet. Like, I can't even think, as much as I talked about the 38-mile long runway, I cannot even think of another stunt up to this point that had me just on board 100%. This, like, invested in it, just on the edge of my seat, just loving every dumb second of this. Yes. Give me more, Daddy, give me more.
Vin Diesel is daddy, obviously.
Yeah, and then immediately after that, Vin Diesel, for some reason, exercises a little bit of caution and is like, you might want to put on a helmet. The only time anyone ever wears a helmet in this entire franchise. And she's like, what are you about to do? He's like, I'm about to do a bunch of donuts, kick up a dust storm, and then run his car off the edge of this cliff. What?
Sir, where is your helmet? That big-ass head ain't gonna save whatever little brain you got going on. Because all these schemes that you got going on, little brain energy. My God. You have to have the faith of, like, a 4-leaf clover. What are you doing? You are living on a prayer. All times. And that car just rolled. I
it
felt
was
so
destroyed.
Bad. I mean, the way that he told Tej to make that car was good. Was a great idea. Because once all the, like, actual car parts come off and you just see that it's, like, a bunch of, like, steel bars all together, sure, makes sense. And then they get down and they're like, oh, cool, it worked. Where's the girl? Like, that's the first thing they said was just like, oh, cool. Car plan was great. Nothing else. They're not like, hey, are you guys okay?
Well, I'm trying to think how we got from there to Abu Dhabi. Excuse me. Wow. Abu Dhabi.
Because she is like, because she, for whatever reasons, like, yeah, you guys are crazy and I trust you. And so they're like, okay, where's the disc? I sent it to my friend in Abu Dhabi.
That's right.
We're going to Abu Dhabi.
Yep.
And then they're in the desert.
And then they're in the desert, and all of them have separate, like, multi-million-dollar cars. They could have carpooled.
No.
Their plan was to only be there for like 24 hours. They didn't need for all of them to get cars.
Yeah, but it's different cars, Mark. They gotta show out. They gotta flash out. They gotta see who gets the fastest one. The whole shtick.
Did we even do any, like, racing in this movie?
Besides, like, when they were, I guess Race Wars?
Yeah, I guess Race Wars was the only time.
I think that was really it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, kind of, I guess kind of the last part, because they're just, like, racing from missiles, but other than that, not really.
I don't know if that counts.
Hey, you gotta win the race, man. But yeah, and then this is the, like, scene where I'm like, oh my God, Roman, you were made to just be a class clown for the rest of your life, and you're great at it because you have no sense of, like, this is kind of, like, pathetic. Should I stop? No, you continue to go. Letty's literally like, Letty hasn't had a fight since like the fourth movie where she was getting her fucking shit beat by what's her name?
Oh, Gina Carano, yeah.
Yeah. And then no, this movie she was over there like kicking the three guards' butts, and then this this beautiful woman was like, "I'm so glad you're here. These things normally bore me."
Okay, do you know who that beautiful woman is?
Wasn't that Ronda Rousey?
It was Ronda Rousey at peak Ronda Rousey time. So this is when she
Man,
was like the hottest athlete on the planet because she was undefeated in her MMA UFC career.
do you
And
think they specifically went out to be like, "Hey, look, we just need a really tough woman," or do you think she was like, "I would love to be in one of your movies.
oh, I'm sure
Just put me anywhere."
I'm sure it's probably a combination of both. They were like,
Fair
okay, we
enough.
can't have Gina Carano because we killed her. We harpooned her last movie, so we can't have Gina Carano anymore. So who can we get? Like who? And Ronda, and like I said, Ronda Rousey was literally at her like prime peak popularity. Um, so and she got billing in the opening credits as like you know Ronda Rousey's in this movie. Um, and she did like a really good. I mean, her fight scene was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, they were getting into it. But, here once again is Dom showing off his ever so lovely superhero strength. He picks up a car, Mark, so
I know.
Brian can go under it and find this little tiny chip that they need. And he's just like, "I've got it." And he just stands there. Sir, what are you on? Explain yourself. Man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even. Here's verbatim what I wrote in my notes. I'm like, damn. I was like, damn it. He lifted a whole damn car. Do we just not give a fuck anymore?
No.
Uh,
This
and,
man wants everyone to know he is so strong, physically fit. He can do everything. That's all Vin Diesel wants people to know him as.
and then
He lifted a car that one movie.
yeah, and then immediate. Oh, but he lifted a car, and then that's not even the dumbest, like strong Vin Diesel thing he did. Uh, oh God! But
Uh,
immediately, like right after this, this is when they jumped the car through the buildings, and
mm-hmm.
man, uh, this is prime. You just have to shut your brain off. You have to. You have to because you're so far up in the air driving this car between buildings that you can't think about it logically. You just can't. But you know what? This was a hell of a scene. They're doing car wars with Jason Statham shooting at him in the penthouse, and they're like, "All right, well, cool, man. There's a building over there. Let's jump to it." Yeah,
Also, they wanted that piece so they could have the Eye of God or whatever.
yeah,
Jason Statham knew where you guys were the whole time. And you guys never like questioned that. He just keeps showing up. Just be prepared. That's all I gotta say. On
yeah.
like the whole like, we've gotta find him. He's just gonna find you. Just be ready. But no. So Vin Diesel starts zooming through, and Brian's over there like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, "Hold on." And Chris is like, "Is he about to start? Is he going to take this car to the next building?" And I was like, "I think it's probably going to go until like, it's going to be like 3 buildings that they're like going to do." And then it happens. And I was just like, God, who came up with this idea? I want to
This.
know the exact writer that was like, "Hey guys, hear me out."
Oh, you just hold on because this guy has been writing. He has written the same. I mean, he's written all the movies, all the Fast and Furious movies since Since Fast 6. So 6, 7, 8,
Oh my
Hobbs and
God.
Shaw, 10. Okay, yeah, so he did 8. He didn't write 10, but he wrote Hobbs and Shaw because. Oh, no, 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 no. That's the producer. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so he's written all of them since Tokyo Drift. So he's written Tokyo
Hmm.
Drift, Fast 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Hobbs and Shaw, and he's produced. And he was, yeah, he's an executive producer on the last couple of them.
Insane. You know that man just stopped, like, being like, I'm not even going to ask you guys what you want. I'm just going to do what I want now.
Right.
Let's do some crazy stuff. Can you imagine if Mia was there? What would be going through this woman's poor head like this entire movie? That's probably why they just had to be like, let's get rid of her.
Yeah,
We
because
cannot have her watching Dom constantly try and just like either kill himself, or then Brian's also like, I will also come with you, ride or die, buddy. And the two of them, in so many instances, could have easily just died.
yep. Oh man, where are we at? Okay, so we just jumped out of the thing. We got God's Eye. Kurt Russell's like, cool, we can find people now. Here, use it here at this computer terminal that's in a mechanic's garage. I don't
That's
know.
also not their garage.
Right.
They literally told the dude that owns the garage, hey, get out of here. And he's just like, what? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And they find Shaw, and again, I get so caught up in it that I forget to take notes, but I'm pretty sure this is a scene where they walk in on Jason Statham eating a steak dinner with a grenade sitting at his table like, oh, I'm so glad you showed up, mate. And then they have a big old firefight. And I think Kurt Russell gets shot. And I put in my, as a common theme through my notes, like, oh no, not Mr. Nobody. Or Mr. Nobody, no. Yep, that's what I put.
Yeah. There was a lot going on in that whole scene. I mean, Kurt Russell had the cool little glasses to be like, oh, I got you guys. I got you guys. But you know what you didn't get? You guys didn't grab the little eye of God. So now, you guys are mega fucked. You got Shaw being able to just like track you guys constantly. And now you got missiles on you. But then right after that, you go to like the scene where like Brian and Mia are talking to each other. And she's like, I just want this to be over. I'm also pregnant again. We're going to have a daughter. And he's just like, what?
Okay, as a father who's had 2 daughters, I have to say something very important.
Please.
Mia is not pregnant enough to know what the sex of that baby is. If she
I'm
is,
so glad you said that.
she is hiding it exceptionally well. Yeah, no, she is not pregnant enough to know.
Nope, absolutely not. Because she is still like so skinny.
Super skinny.
But pregnancy tests these days are insane, Mark. It'll tell you the whole like gender, if it's got any like deformities, if it's gonna be, autistic or ADHD when it pops out. That's what it felt like.
I mean, to be fair, that is the least egregious thing in this movie where she's like, and it's gonna be a girl. We just watched a car fly through 2 buildings, 50 stories up.
I know.
Do I really need to nitpick her not being pregnant enough to know that that the kid
But
is...
Mia's got to get in on the like crazy stuff too, She's not there for the action, so she's like, I'ma just throw a crazy little mind fuck at you guys. Maybe, Mark, Mia has superpowers. and she knows the sex of her baby because somehow
Yo,
she's talking to it.
it's a Toretto thing. Mia's got superpowers. Oh, shit. Oh, God.
Oh,
This answers so many questions. Oh, of course. Oh,
oh my
Jesus.
gosh.
Oh, I gotta put this in my Dominic Toretto notes. Um,
Perfect. It runs in the
it
genes.
runs in the
It's part
families.
of the family.
Oh, oh,
God, can you imagine what Mia and Brian are going to put up with their son and daughter just being like, "Hello, mother and father. We are back from another day of school. I accidentally floated my teacher up into the sky again
right.
today."
And I set the school on fire again because I have pyrokinesis. Oh man.
This movie. This fucking
Oh god. And you know what's
movie.
so weird is I'm looking at my notes. We still have so much ground to
There's
cover.
so much stuff.
We've
This whole
covered
movie.
two huge action set pieces, the car flying and then the big like 30-minute action scene where we rescue Ramsey, which we ain't even talked about Ramsey yet. I love Ramsey. She's awesome. Um
Oh,
but
yeah.
but like this was the rescue Ramsey scene was an end of a movie action scene 10 years ago. What are we doing? Like, this is middle of the movie. This is the end of the first act. Brian is fighting fucking Tony Jaa, and they are just legit just kicking each other all in the face, and I am here for it. We ain't even talked about Tony Jaa yet. Tony Jaa is just whooping everybody's ass, and I love it. I wish he would have been in this movie more. He's the guy who like almost explicitly fights Brian in this movie. The too slow
Oh,
guy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Parkour and all around the fucking building.
Yes. Oh
But
god.
don't, hey, I need you to remember that before or like during this fight, we get our wheelie.
Yeah,
It
we do.
literally goes, I literally have my notes from like Brian and Mia's call straight to Willie on top of Shaw's car with a shotgun and misses Shaw completely.
Yep. Oh god. This is where it's even hard to say this. This is where the movie gets really just we take it up another notch.
It's insane.
We bam it up another notch. We got Hobbs, or excuse me, we got Shaw and Dom fighting on top of this parking deck with wrenches and car parts that Jason Statham has ripped off of his car. They're fighting. Across town, they're trying to hack into the helicopter that has done deployed a drone to shoot at them, but they have to be close to the helicopter so Ramsey can hack into it to get control of God's Eye. And The Rock flexes out of his cast so he can go and save the day.
Chris also called that. He was like, "Dude, do you think he's gonna rip the cast off?" And it happened. And then he's just like to his daughter, "Daddy's got to go to work."
And
He
has all
stole
of his
a
gear there.
fucking ambulance. And he's just flying through. Which, of course, we've got to talk about that one scene. So, the guys are all doing their thing. They're jumping out of cars. They're throwing Ramsey around, just being like, "What's up?"
That was so good.
And then Letty has Ramsey, and they're in that little tunnel thing. They're about to get blown up, of course. But what does Hobbs do? Just right off of the side of like a bridge type thing over the tunnel, and he lands perfectly on top of it. Because of course he does. Because that's how movies work.
Mm-hmm.
In Fast and Furious. He just destroyed the entire thing, and then he just goes up to and shoots it.
It double taps it, yeah.
And then Ramsey's literally like, who the hell who are you people? Like,
Right.
she just accepts it.
And
And I would have been
that's an
like,
appropriate
no.
response. Who are you people? Yes, yes, that is the absolute correct response. But here's the most impressive thing about all of this movie, and I mean this genuinely. This isn't for laughs and goofs and haha, but for the most part, I was never really at a loss plot wise what we were doing. Like, we had our MacGuffin in the God's Eye that we were trying to get, and we had Jason Statham who wanted to kill, you know, our whole crew, and at a base level, that was it. It was very simple. It was just surrounded by all of this fantastical action set pieces. But I was never once like, what are we doing in Abu Dhabi? I knew why we were there. I knew why we were doing everything we were doing, no matter how fantastical it was. But it was a very simple plot device that kept moving us forward that we were trying to get to. And by the time The Rock, double tapped this drone in its eye, which is a statement I never thought I was going to ever say in my life, I'm like, okay, cool. And I have this in my notes. The last 20 minutes is so incredible because we're doing all of this fantastic stuff. The camera work is great. It's rotating. We're slamming people down and around. The street fights going on.
The thing about street fights, the street always wins.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And then Dom became an earthbender and just like, there goes Shaw. Meanwhile, Hobbs has the machine gun.
Yeah, he's walking,
from the drone
walking through downtown Los Angeles with a damn minigun. Just, oh, God.
Oh, my God. And Dom just wants cars to fly so bad. So he's like, Nyom, as like everything is crashing down behind him. But of course, that wonderful man was like, I'm going to take this entire bag of grenades so Hobbs can shoot it and explode the entire helicopter.
Right.
Someone will get it. Perfect.
Perfect.
What are your thoughts on the scene where Brian is trying to revive Dom and he's like, all you have to do is just the blow part. I will do all the push, push, push. Now do the blow part. And she's like, get off of him. Get off of him. I remember everything. What? If you think that he is literally dead, no breath in his lungs, heart is done, I remember everything.
Here's the thing. It's weird when our main characters decide to act rational for a second, because Brian was absolutely doing the right thing. My friend is unconscious. I trust that Brian, being a former police officer, like, he knows when to administer CPR. So I'm going to assume that he was like, yes, clearly we need to do this. And he is trying to, for the most part, be level-headed in this crazy-ass world. And he's like, listen, Letty, you only have one job. Do this thing. While we're waiting for everyone, for help to get here, do the thing. And Letty's like, no, I can heal him with the power of family.
All he needs is memories, and he'll be back. I remember our wedding.
I remember our wedding.
Also,
yeah,
she looked so beautiful in this dress. She had her makeup done. Her hair looked good. This cute little flower tiara. And my man was standing there in like a wife beater. Like, he's just got a white tank top on.
And white pants.
But like, sir, You couldn't just wear like a nice little polo.
You know, this scene in particular is, and I noticed it last movie too, where when Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel are in a scene together, and it requires real acting, Michelle Rodriguez can act her ass off. Because I was on board with her being like, I gotta get Dom back, like just being upset and trying to get Dom back through the power of love. You know, she's doing the best she can with the script she's given, but she acted her ass off, and then Vin Diesel wakes up and is just a buffoon. What did you think I wasn't gonna remember? Like, shut up. Like, and then and as we come to the end of this scene, where presumably everything's fine and we're like putting the button on this movie, I wrote in my notes, I think Fast 7 might be my new favorite out of the franchise. Because another scene or another part of the movie where I was like, yes, just laughing uncontrollably, was Vin Diesel, you know, shot that car up into the air and put the grenades up there, and The Rock saw this from down on the ground and fired his gun at it. I was laughing. This was great. No notes. Absolutely none.
100% cinematic.
It's a masterpiece. I'm upset that this didn't win all the Oscars. You know, but apparently, apparently it did win a bunch of awards. Let's see if I can pull them up. But yeah, after this, we go to the beach and we all start crying. So,
Oh, man, that beach scene. Before we get to the beach scene, you mentioned the fact that, like, yes, obviously, Brian was being, you know, super good about wanting to be like, oh, I gotta revive my friend. This movie, he was definitely like, he felt very like a dad, because he's like, to Ramsey, like, do you have any signs of concussion? Blah, 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 blah. Let me know if you have anything. Like, he was like very much on it of like, I've had stressful times, but I can do all this stuff. And he's over here trying to revive Dom. And, you know, the whole scene where he like was putting his kid in the car and then the house exploded. He literally like slams the door to like take care of everything. He's a super dad.
yes.
Absolutely. But yes. This final scene where everyone's at the beach and Mia's like, Dad, come play with us, and they're doing their thing. Roman's over there talking some dumb shit, and Tej is just like, "Hey man, just enjoy what we got going on right now." And I was like, Chris was laying down, and I was behind him, and man, as soon as the beach scene came up, the tears just like welled in my eyes. And then Dom's like, "I'ma go. You're not even gonna say goodbye? Stop. You stop it right now."
Yeah.
That final scene just destroyed me. And Chris was like, "Did you ever think that you were gonna cry because of Fast and Furious?" And I was like, I knew that this one scene was going to destroy me, because this movie came out in 2015.
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. That was the year that I graduated from high school. And that song was super popular. And so I think that's like the song that like we super, like my class, like super locked into. And of course, you know, we all know about the tragedy of Paul Walker's death. And like, I don't know. So it was very much just like that whole moment, that song really just got to me. It was just one of those, like, you know, everything all put together. The fact that they had to use Paul Walker's brothers to do that, like, final little drive scene where they, like, look at each other. Man, that was rough.
Yeah. It
What were you
was.
looking up? Were you looking up the awards? Did
Yes,
you find
it's
them?
uh a lot of them are not like major awards, quote unquote. It was
Mm,
nominated for a SAG award, but it was that was for the stunt team, which
fair.
yeah, they were nominated. They didn't win. I don't know who in the
How the
world.
hell?
Right. Um, so, but a lot of it is just it won 37 awards, but they were all in minor award um, uh, things. So, I mean, I guess probably the most popular one that it did was it won, let's see, Best Action Sequence from the MTV Movie Awards. Um, it was nominated for Best Cast. Vin Diesel was nominated for Best Action Performance. And it won in 2017 it won a Generation Award. And it was shared with all the
Hmm.
other movies. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's nominated for Best Action Adventure Film and Best Best Song and just all kinds of other just a litany of other things this for this movie. A lot of it being music related, like that Wiz Khalifa song was an absolute bop. So
Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't know if you watched until the very end. Chris was like, I don't know if there's a post-credit scene. We'll watch it. So we, skip all the way through. At the very end, after all of the credits have gone, it literally says visit Abu Dhabi.
oh yeah,
And
I was
Chris and
like,
I were
man,
like,
did I miss? Did I miss?
what?
I thought I went through it all.
That was wild. No, it was very like, we were like, what? Why are they like promoting this? It was
Because
insane.
they paid a lot of money.
I guess. Yeah. But, at the end when the final thing where it's like Paul Walker doing, you know, through the past 7 movies and it says for Paul and you're just like, okay, go ahead and rip out my heart. Because I think that they had done something similar for like a different thing where I was like, oh, it's so like nice to like look at how, everyone's like changed and stuff. But that one was just, man,
Yeah.
that one was so rough.
The,
All in all, there were 9 family times being said. Chris rounded it up to 10 because of that last song. How can we never forgive about family when family's all that we got? He was like, I'm just going to count that as 1. It says it so many times. How can we not? And I was like, okay, so 10 family. I give this 10 out of 10 families.
okay. You know what? I give it 7 out of 7 Furiouses.
7 swans speeding.
Yes. I mean, no notes. I mean, at this point in the game, this movie was literally everything I wanted it to be. I can only think of another movie, and we haven't got to it yet, where, and I think going back and watching this movie like it is now, after having seen all the other ones and knowing that, like, I guess kind of I don't know, just knowing exactly what to expect out of this movie, I enjoy it so much more. And it's the total package is all there in this movie. Like 6 and 7 really knock it out of the park, and this is just great. I can't wait until we get to 10. Like that's the next one that I'm really kind of looking forward to because the acting really gets ramped up a notch. And there's
Okay.
so many more characters that come in over the next couple movies that all kind of, once we get to 10, we're just like, yep, you know what you're getting into. You can't complain about it anymore. especially if you went and saw it in the theater, you know what you're walking into 10 movies in. So for anyone to be like, oh, well, this movie this and this movie that, you're like, shut up, you know. So, but I say all that to say this movie's a masterpiece. I love it. I'm so glad we're watching these movies. Raven, again, it's wonderful. And I'm so glad that you're enjoying watching these movies.
Thank you for sharing this experience with me. It really has been like something that I would not expect to like, but have very much like grown to really enjoy these movies.
Awesome. All right. Now that we've cried a little bit and we've talked about family, let's move on to to my favorite part of the week. I don't know. We've been talking for an hour and a half now about just having a really good time talking about this movie. I'm surprised that we've broken down this movie and have enjoyed this movie as much as we have done. We've really, I don't think we've
There
talked
was
this.
so much to talk about.
There genuinely was, and I feel like we just barreled through the last action set piece. We just barreled through it. I'm okay with it, but man, come on, man, cut us some slack. All right,
Whew.
let's talk about my favorite part of the whole week, where we start getting thankful for the little things in life, the things that made us happy. Raven, please tell me what has made you happy this week.
It's been another, classic week of just grooming dogs, doing what we do. Chris and I, on Saturday, we went to Nashville. Some friends that we had met from a... Okay, so in October, we went to one of Chris's friends' weddings. The dude that was his best man, him and his girlfriend, we met them for the first time. We really liked them. And I was like, hey, if you guys ever come to Tennessee, let us know. If we're ever in Los Angeles, we'll let you know. Well, they were like, hey, we're coming to Nashville. You want to come meet us? And we went and met them. And they are just like such a delightful little couple. And it's not something that normally Chris and I would be like, this is our second time ever like really meeting these people. But we hung out with them and we had such a wonderful day. They're just lovely people. And, I've never really just been like, oh, I want to go to Nashville to like hang out in Nashville. I've only gone to Nashville because I'm like, I have concerts to go to. In and out. That's all. But it was just like a really nice time because Travis, the lovely guy, and Maria, it was Travis's birthday, so they were like, yeah, we're just going to come do this. And so we celebrated Travis's birthday with him, and that was that.
Awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Mark? What has made you happy this week in the form of your children?
Family. So both of my kids are in various different extracurriculars. They're both in chorus, and Alice is in drama as well. And there was her high school theater production. They did a production of Mean Girls, and it was super fun. The young actresses and actors that they have at this high school, they do such good work. Like, really fantastic for being kids, essentially. I mean, I think the oldest one is 18 because, they're still in high school. And they just really put on a good show. I am not upset, and I've been going to a lot of my kids' plays and productions over the years. I am not upset anymore about going to these things, and that is really fun. And especially like in middle school when I'm going to these plays and I'm watching my daughter, who, and I know I'm biased, but I'm like, man, she is clearly better than everyone up there. But now she'll get her turn, and she will, and I look forward to the time. But she's a freshman now, so we're kind of playing the game a little bit. But she has the talent, and I cannot wait for her to be up there singing and dancing center stage. I don't know when it's going to be, but I hope it will be soon. I have all the faith in her. It's going to be great. Now, that's one of them. The thing that I forgot about, because so much has happened this week, Tuesday, my youngest one did a chorus thing for her elementary school at, I can't remember the specific name of it, but we'll just call it World Night, where we all go to the high school's gymnasium. The elementary school goes to the high school gymnasium, and it's like, hey, we have all these students from different parts of the world, and we're going to celebrate their cultural differences. And they sing some songs, and some people come out and do a little dance, and they bring down the flags, and it's like, oh, Guatemala, Mexico, the Philippines, and all this. And because we're a military town, we have all different kinds of people. Now, when all of this is done, when all the singing and stuff is done, we each country has a little table to go to, and usually they have a little bit of food you can try, a little bit of like their homeland food. Listen, Guatemala threw down. Guatemala. I wasn't expecting, like, I was expecting like little snacks, little hard candies or something, like, oh, here, try these, we made some rice with some Swedish meatballs or something. I don't know what it was. It was delicious, but it was like some kind of broth with meatballs in it, and they put it over rice. It was great. They were out of that almost instantly. And as I'm walking around, I noticed there was a really long line at the Guatemalan table, and I look, and they got tamales. They have something they were putting on tostada shells. They had peppers that they were serving with fresh tortillas, and had like some strawberry drink, and they were just scooping food, putting it on a little plate and serving it. And I was like, this is just fantastic. Their line was clearly the longest. And it was so good. And then, what was the other country that had really good food? It's not Mexico. I can't remember right now for the life of me. Might have been Mexico. I think it was. Yeah. Mexico had like really dope food, and it was like way better than like, your standard traditional Tex-Mex, restaurant. It was really good. I was really happy. It was great. That's what made us happy, or made me happy this week. So,
Lovely.
and I'll say this as we go into our housekeeping part. I want to shout out, this is something that made me happy, because this has kind of been in the works for a very, very long time. And, but finally, if you heard at the beginning of the show, we have a new theme song that's playing this week with the podcast. And it is from someone that I actually know, which is what makes this so special. The name of the song is Memories in 8-Bit by the artist's name is Fergie's Human. We'll have all the social medias, so links and stuff from here on out. It'll be in the show notes. So please make sure that you go check her out. Deanna Joan, I used to work with her, and she no longer works with me because she is off going and doing fantastical music stuff. But before, like last year sometime, I was like, hey, would you like to do music for the show? And she was like, yes. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast, and we've kind of been chit-chatting back and forth for a very long time, and trying to get things worked out. We finally got it worked out. We got everything squared away, and that is the song you hear at the beginning and at the end of the show. And thank you, Deanna. I'm through the moon that you let us use some of your music, and we are talking about when we can get her on the show to come and talk with us about some stuff that she's into, her music, and what movie she wants to talk about or show. So we're kicking around a bunch of stuff. I'm super excited. Please check the show notes for all of her information. Yeah. And that's something else that's made me happy this week. I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way and give like the big spiel, because I will get so caught up in the routine of our end of show kind of housekeeping that we do that I will absolutely forget it if I do not blurt it out right now.
I can't blame you, honestly.
No. And with saying all of that, go find us on the social medias, because we are out there. We are at Nerd for No Reason. We are on Twitter. We are on Blue Sky. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram, not on TikTok. But we are on YouTube now, because Google Podcast has gone away, and now YouTube has taken its place. So we are on YouTube in like audio podcast form. So go check that out, because we are there too. And honestly, if I can be honest, man, we are doing gangbusters on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, because that helps us get to like the next level. But like view wise, people are checking. I don't know if it's Fast and the Furious or what, but people are checking it out. I am just thrilled to death.
Nice.
So, Raven, where can they find you?
Guys, I like to hang out on that little fun site that I still call Twitter at spooky_Raven. And I also like Instagram at That's So Raven Ellis. Mark, how about you?
I am on all those same social medias at Turtles Do It. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this super long podcast of us just talking nonsense
The insanity
of Furious 7. I mean, I think this is the longest show we've ever done. Like we are we are pushing it. Raven, thank you for joining me. It's great. I can't wait for next week.
Same. I don't even know what's coming next week, but I know it's just continuing to ramp its way up into the sky, because that's where we're going one day.
One day.
We're taking cars to the sky.
One day. All right.
But they're not going down. They're going up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please go do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go ingest the coolest new medias around, and we'll see you next week at the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.